Hello, welcome back to my reading log. So this time's reading log, it's gonna be all about BL because I have a lot of unread BL, and so it's time to read them all. So we're gonna start with Therapy Game Restart by Meguru Hinohara. This is gonna be rated 18 and plus because there's a lot of explicit scene. I really like it so far. It's fun to read, and not to mention they're in their adult years, so it kind of makes sense because times I do read a lot of teens, so it's kind of refreshing to read something in the adult age if that makes sense. So we got our main character Shizuma and Minato. They started dating after hooking up at a club because let's see, let me not get confused. Who is who? Sorry about that. Sometimes I get mixed up after reading. Okay, we got our main character Minato. He's a veterinarian, and we got Shizuma. I think he's a photographer who works with his brother. Now this two's been dating over about 6 months. However, now that Minato's been working at his new job, they haven't been seeing each other quite some time because Minato is just very busy as a first-timer. However, Shizuma, he's trying to keep himself busy, but sometimes he's just feel that desire to have Minato around because he's trying his best not to be so clingy, and so time to time they would talk on the phone, but to him it's not enough. I think at times he doesn't want to admit that he wants to see him. But finally, when Minato have a chance to see him, of course they did whatever they could. Now Shizuma did meet Minato's coworkers for a bit because he went to see him and he was supposed to go home with them. However, his coworkers decided to invite Minato to a cherry blossom viewing, but Shizuma decided to leave because I guess he just wants to. But one of his coworkers, Minato's coworkers, was sort of interested of Shizuma, but Minato decided to tell the truth that, hey, that's my boyfriend. So everyone was kind of in shock, but they decided to let him go because his boyfriend was there. Now that the air is cleared, he decided to leave and surprise Shizuma at a bar because Shizuma was there feeling sad and depressed because he really wanted Minato to come home with him. But look at that, Minato show up. So after a nice night, he found out that he had the day off because Minato's boss came back from a business trip and noticed that Minato had too much overtime, and so she decided to give him the day off. And of course, these two were so happy and had a fun time, of course. And the next day, Minato decided to spill the beans. He just felt like this might be a great time now that he has a job, and apparently he's still living with his parents, and he really wants to have them move together, and maybe this will ease the tension or being apart for too long. Deep inside, Shizuma is happy, but at the same time it is too fast, so he's gonna think about it. And Minato, of course, accept his decision, and we'll just see if Shizuma will change his mind in the next volume. So far, I really like this story. It's not quite bad. Yes, there's a lot of explicit scenes, so I won't able to show you guys. Sorry about that. Of course, I did some digging. Now, this manga has a total of 4 volumes so far. The 5th volume does not come out until this summer, July, so I'm not sure if this is a slow release BL. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely check out more of this series because I really like it. I love the quirkiness when it comes to Shizuma. He's just being honest when it comes to his feelings because Minato, he's not around, and he just has that desire for him. So yeah, looking forward to read more of this manga. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry, upside down. So apparently there's another prequel to this BL called Therapy Game. I guess that's how when they actually met, and this is what the sequel, and that's when they started dating. Oh my god, I'm glad I actually tried to look more volumes of this one because I just found out there's other 2 volumes that's a prequel to this. Like, what? So now I feel like I need to read the first 2, then read the rest. Oh my god. Guys, I've just found out that there's another prequel to Therapy Game. That one's called Secret XXX, same mangaka, but that one is all about Shizuma's brother and Minato's brother who works together at a shop, and apparently they have a huge crush at each other, and maybe this is how the series started because of that prequel. Yeah, I didn't even know that because I did more research. So if you want to read this manga, you need to read that first. Secret XXX, then Therapy Game, and then this one, Therapy Game Restart. Sorry if that was all confusing, but you know what? I did not know, and you know what? I'm glad I did. Decided to read one more series for the day. So this one is called Cherry Magic, 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. So I read 2, 3, they're very slippery, and 4 because I only had these 3 volumes that I need to catch up. I read one maybe months ago. So we have our 2 main character. Okay, hopefully I get this right. Adachi and Kurosawa. Now, Adachi, when he turned 30, he gained this ability to read people's thoughts whenever he touches them. And he suddenly touched Kurosawa and he found out that he likes him. So it's been kind of awkward at first because he knows his secret, and now he's just still head over heels towards Adachi, and he doesn't know what to do with the situation until they suddenly gets closer and closer because Kurosawa is very caring. It's kind of obvious that he really likes Adachi, and of course Adachi knows that. Adachi, on the other hand, his feelings is kind of confusing. I mean, like, he's feeling confused whether or not he likes Kurosawa, but at the same time, he's sort of into another coworker. I think her name is Fuji-san. Like, he thinks she's cute, but I think he realized his feelings is more towards Kurosawa. It's because whenever they're hanging out and get very close toward one another, he has more feelings towards him. I think it shows that he's also scared of admitting it. And then finally one day, Kurosawa like had enough and told Adachi the truth that he likes Adachi, but Adachi didn't know what to say. But the next day or so, he realized that he really liked Kurosawa as well. And so he surprised Kurosawa because he was coming back from a business trip and decided to confess to him at the airport that he likes him. So that was like a big moment for Kurosawa because he's been imagining this day because he likes to fantasize. And Adachi knows all about this because he can read his thoughts. And so at first, they had a date and it was kind of like a bit of struggle because Kurosawa surprised him to go to this nice helicopter sightseeing in the city. However, Adachi is apparently afraid of heights. But even though it didn't go well, of course, Adachi wants to go further with this relationship and see where it goes. However, Adachi feels like he needs to tell Kurosawa about his magic or his power that he knew all along about Kurosawa's thoughts. But other than that, we'll find out on the next volume. So I think this series has already about 11 volumes and an anime. So can't wait to read more of this Cherry Magic. It's been a long time that I needed to continue. I think because I was waiting for the volume. At the same time, these are not like, they're like about, let's see, there's no price right there. It's $15. So I tried to get it for a second hand, but I couldn't, so I decided to get it new from somewhere that was very inexpensive, really good price. That's why it took me a little while to finally get more volumes. But overall, I really like this series. Looking forward to read more. Now, even though this is a parental advisory with explicit content, it hasn't shown like explicit content yet because they're still dating. So up to 4 volume, nothing is very explicit. And so if you're interested, definitely check it out, especially if you're a big BL fan. Just now, I just finished this BL manga called Hitore Jime My Hero, read volume 1, 2, and 3. So this is an age gap BL romance. We got our main character Kosuke and Setagawa. At first, Satagawa was with this other group of guys until he wanted to fight Kosuke. But before that, he met his little brother because he was trying to take care of a little kitten. And when they went to his place, he realized he didn't want to fight with him or something. It kind of jumped to where he became an underling under Kosuke. Now, Kosuke is a math teacher and he's only in his first year of high school. And then suddenly, Kosuke decided to tease him about he realized or he assumed that he likes him, but eventually he admitted he has a thing for Kosuke, and then Kosuke may have the same feeling as Satakawa. And Satakawa at first didn't want to do anything about it, but then eventually they do decide to take it to the next step. And yes, it's a big age gap BL romance. I'm not usually a big fan of it, but I think the story is okay. There's not a lot of drama. It's very subtle, and his little brother and his little brother's friends is very supported. I know that's kind of weird. And on top of that, he's trying to hide his relationship from his mom, and his older friends, of course, knows about his relationship with this guy. However, one of his friend, I think he is a police detective. Of course, he was against it at first, but then he decided to let it slide and let it go. And so they continue with their relationship secretly, but their romance has some few struggles here and there, but they still continue no matter what. When it comes to other areas, it's very subtle. If you know, you know. If you read this, let me know what you think. Are you against it or not? Again, it is a big age gap. BL romance, I think he's either in his late 20s. Again, he's only in his first year. But you know what? I'm gonna continue and see where the story goes. Because at this point, I already read 3 volumes and just want to continue how things are gonna be between these two since they're hiding their relationship from a lot of people. And other than that, this series has already about 16 volumes. And yeah, just gonna look forward, and I think I can show you guys some insight. Let's see, this is the first volume. I think the first pages is colored right there. The illustration is really nice. I think what I like about this story, even though there's a big age gap, it's very subtle and everybody just seems supported about their relationship, and kind of makes me curious what's gonna happen next because of their relationship. And so yeah, so just finished another BL romance. This one's called My Summer of You. I read volume 1, and 2 by Nagisa Furuya. Oh my god, this is such a cute slow burn BL romance. I really like it a lot. There's actually one more volume after this. Not sure if that's the final volume, but it feels like it might be the final volume because our main character Wataru and Chiharu, so at first they're just really good friends, best friend who likes to go watch movies together in high school, because after that they're in college. I'm just getting ahead of myself right now. So then one day, I guess Wataru was kind of curious whether if Chiharu liked someone, because Chiharu is very popular among the girls and he always turned them down. And I guess one of the girls was kind of curious and asked Wataru if his friend Chiharu has anyone that he likes. And so he decided to ask Chiharu himself. And Chiharu said something that made Wataru surprised, because he was saying, quote unquote, my crush is in front of me. So in other words, he likes Wataru. Now, at first, Wataru was in shock, but he was very calm and collective, and he didn't take it like, you know, how someone would react. Like, he was very accepting and very nice and kind to his confession. Afterwards, everything was fine and normal. They just stay really good friends until one day Chiharu suddenly left town with his family, and Wataru was really mad because he didn't say anything. And out of the blue, Chiharu wrote a letter to Wataru about a past memory. I'm not going to say too much about that part because it might be like a spoiler. And Wataru noticed about the letter that it was still addressed in his old address, and he had an idea that he might be a certain place. So he went to this certain place, and well, Chiharu happened to be there, and they had a long, nice talk, and Wataru decided to tell Chiharu about how he felt about everything, even the confession, and kind of admit that, like, hey, I don't want us to be apart. And in other words, like, he may wants to give this a try, being together, because there was a little bit a kiss. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so they had a nice talk. They spent together as much as they can because Chiharu had to leave back to Osaka. Since he lives so far, they only see each other during holidays. And then I think they only had like a year left, and then now they're in college. So now that these two are in college, they're also busy with jobs and they do their best to see each other because they're practically dating and taking it slow. And the only time that they actually do something together for a long period of time is during summer, because back in high school, they would always go to the movies, eat together, and then go all these different places where some of the movie sets are filmed. So basically, they're doing the same thing even after high school. Now, when it comes to their relationship, it's very, again, very slow burn steady. They're taking their time because Wataru, on the other hand, he doesn't really know sometimes what he's doing. So Chiharu always seemed to be the one making the first move. I just find it adorable. And Wataru, he's very supportive. He's just, trying his best to go with the flow with Chiharu. And that's what I like about this romance. It's just really cute. It's not very fast paced and cliche, in my opinion. I just love the dynamic, the atmosphere, and the vibe. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. When you read something really good, sometimes it just leaves you speechless. Other than that, I can't wait for the third volume because their relationship is just going stronger and stronger. I think they're just trying to figure out what they can do the next step and maybe go further more, if that makes sense. This story sort of reminds me of My Love Mix Up because the romance is very similar where they don't know what they are doing, but at the same time they're just trying to figure out along the way and do their best, so this way they can figure out together and no one is behind, if that makes sense. So really like the story so far. I can't wait for the last volume and see where the story goes, and hopefully a good happy ending. How can I forget? Let me just show you guys the first volume. Some part are colored, really beautiful. The illustration is really nice. I really like this romance. I think the transition of them being friends, now they're dating and just trying to see where it goes. I just find it adorable because who doesn't? Anyway, I'm looking forward to read more of this. BL, I think the third volume is the last volume, so looking forward. So this is my BL section. The goal was to read as much as I can. So I started in this first one. I already read a few. Boys on the Right, I'm gonna save that for another reading log for like short series. So the next one I need to read is On or Off. And then eventually I'm gonna go to the next shelf, but I'm probably gonna read like one more after that one because most of this I already read except for Given and Sasaki Miyano. They're like behind. I really need to start reading Given especially. And here at the bottom are mostly one shot that I already read, so it's not bad even though I still have a long way to go. On the bright side, I'm actually gonna bring back my reading log weekly because it is in the slow season for the retail world and I have all this free time and I don't want to use my free time absolutely doom scrolling or just lazing around. I really want to read more because when I have that 1 week break, I end up not reading and then I would rush myself to read in the second week because knowing I have to post a reading log, and I don't want to do that. I actually miss reading like almost every day, but of course I would need some time off so this way I don't feel like I am pushing myself too much. And so yes, starting next week I'm gonna bring back my reading log temporarily until I get busy again with my job, so this way I can finally catch up with all this TBR I have, and hopefully the goal of this year is to read most of my manga, and that is why I am reducing borrowing from the library so this way I can catch up. So yes, Again, I'm gonna start my reading log weekly next week, and I'm so happy because I actually miss doing that. I actually enjoy doing that, to be honest. So yeah. So what I have here is one is called it's a BL romance on or off by A1. A1, yeah. I read 1 and 2. This is going to be an 18 plus, very explicit BL romance. So, of course, I can't show that to you guys. Our main character, An Yi Young, and his group of friends decided to create a game app. And then, when he presented to his game app in this company, and this is the director of the company named Director Kang. Well, during his presentation, something went wrong because his laptop was in the middle of update, so he couldn't finish it, and he was very disappointed. And but at the same time, he was very determined. So he decided to go to his office, but with the help of the secretary, when he wasn't around, he decided to print a bunch of papers about the app and left it in his desk. And then he saw a schedule where he would be on that day, and he decided to go that certain place and, well, I guess follow him. To his surprise, director Kang was, of course, indeed shocked that Ayang was in the bar, same bar as him, because he was also in the middle of a breakup, so he was not in a good mood. But Ayang is very determined to make sure that their game up will get some audience or have a second chance because his presentation failed. However, the conversation was good at first, then all of a sudden something happened. The reason why this is called on or off because they both had a one night stand, and Ayang felt so bad because this sort of thing shouldn't happen, and he doesn't want to admit that he did it in order for their game up to get accepted. And so the next day or so, he received an email that their game app was accepted because director Kang did saw all the papers that he left, and he was very impressed. And of course, Ayang and his friend were so happy, and they were giving an office in the same building as him, and they needed to complete the game out so that way they can release it. Other than that, Ayang apparently has a history of sometimes getting obsessed to the person that he liked because one of his friend Mina, who's been a longtime friend with him ever since they were young, she's worried about him that he might get too fixated on the director, but she's kind of right at the same time because now he's kind of like obsessed about director Kang because ever since the Why Not Stand, which they had another one, after that he just can't stop thinking about director Kang. But director Kang made a rule or a contract that whenever they have a Why Not Stand, that is it. There should be no any like emotional attachment, but Young doesn't understand that. And so throughout the story, he can't stop thinking about him. He's very like giggly and stuff like that. And then one day they went for a drive because Young wanted director Kang to teach him how to drive, but that was just an excuse to hang out with him or to be closer with him because Dr. Kang knew that he can drive off the start. So they had a nice day just eating out, hanging out, and then at the very end, Ayan can't help himself sometimes. He would make certain move and director Kang would be just oblivious and pretend that didn't happen. And then his secretary was in the area and Ayang decided to leave and catch the bus. And that's how the volume ended. Ayang left the scene because he was embarrassed of one certain thing that he did. And so this story is not bad. I never read something like this. It's very, of course, adult romance. And again, I can't show to you anything, you guys. Would I recommend this? Yes, because Aya has its quirky side, and before everything happens, they just act like a real adult and very mature, except, Ayang. But I think he's just being himself. And so there's actually about 5 volumes so far. So looking forward to see where the story goes and whether or not these two will end up together or maybe we'll start dating. We will see. I was going to read one more, but I think I'm going to end this reading log. So I'm glad I read Cherry Magic because it's been a while. Therapy Game Restart, that was something. I didn't know there was like 2 other prequel of this story. Hitori Jimmy My Hero It's probably not everyone's cup of tea. My summer review, what a sweet romance between two friends. And then On and Off was quite in shock as well. I did not expect the story to go something like that, but you know what? I'm actually looking forward to see where the story goes. Let me know what you think about this BL. Have you read them? Do you like it or not? Or if you have any other BL recommendation, just let me know. And so thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading log, and I'll see you guys next time.